The Sharps Rifle Company XPB Bolt Carrier Group. Let's check it out. Guys, when it comes to your AR-15 rifle, there are two critical elements, the barrel and the bolt carrier group. These are the heart of your rifle. One of the problems right now is there are a lot of rifles out there that are being sold at super discount prices. In fact, I was on Palmetto State Armory this morning and they had a full AR-15 for $459, which is a fantastic price and a great introductory rifle. But there are places that have to be cut to achieve that price, and typically it is the barrel and the bolt carrier. Today we're going to take a look at the Sharps Rifle Company, and this is their XPB bolt. It's an extreme performance bolt carrier. It's made of S7 steel, and it is the strongest bolt carrier group on the market. Now I have a number of different bolt carrier groups that we're just going to kind of highlight through, but of course mainly we're going to be talking about the XPB bolt carrier group. I do have one of the XPBs in the FDE color in this rifle. I haven't even removed it, and I've shot about 1,000 rounds through this BCM AR15. We want to make sure the gun is unloaded and the magazine's removed and the chamber is empty. Now this is the XPB bolt carrier group. This one has not been shot, so I wanted to kind of show it as it is before we show some of the ones that we've put quite a few rounds through. Now the XPB bolt carrier groups are S7 steel. That is a tool steel. It is incredibly strong. In fact, it's 75% increase in tensile strength over your standard Carpenter 158 steel, which most of your bolts are made of, and that's just the bolt. When it comes to your standard mil-spec carriers, they're 8620. So it's a little bit of a lesser steel because the bolt is where all the action or the high pressures happen. So Sharps went ahead and made the entire bolt and bolt carrier in the S7 steel. That's also a 60% increase in yield strength. So you're getting a super strong bolt carrier system for your rifle. The DLC, which is the diamond-like coating, it's a very lubricitous type finish, and it needs less lube. It's easy to clean. It's going to keep the marks down. Now, one of the other big elements with this is the balanced bolt carrier, and you'll notice these funky cuts. It looks real cool. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It just has a really modular type look, more than the rounded off mil-spec bolt carrier. But there is a design behind that. One of the big things about that is the cuts actually relieve some of the friction when the bolt is moving back into the buffer tube or the receiver extension tube. Another thing to consider is what they call the cant. When the gas hits right here at the gas key, it actually forces the bolt carrier up, and that forces the rear of the bolt carrier group down. And with these cuts, it's made to minimize the cant, and that's going to be less wear and tear on your AR-15 rifle. It's also reduced mass, which those cuts have actually reduced the weight, and then you have your cuts right here in the back of the bolt carrier and relief cuts here. So there's quite a bit of difference. In fact, this is a flattened area that's not on your standard M16 bolt carrier group. Now this is in the same configuration as your M16 bolt carrier, which the AR-15 was designed after. And one thing you'll find on some of the AR-15 bolt carriers is that this little area right here is cut. And another thing about the DLC coating is that it is placed in a 24-hour thermal cycle. So it penetrates the metal completely. It gives it a really strong finish. And these have also been batch tested to HTP, which is high pressure testing, and MPI, which means magnetic particle inspected. They inspect these for any kind of surface cracks or any kind of hidden stress points that are inside the metal. They're also shot peened, and shot peening actually hardens the surface of the metal, and that's really what needs to be done with most of your high quality bolts and bolt carriers. Now that gives you less mass, it gives you less friction because of the cuts, and it's less wear on the rifle. Marked on the bolt carrier you have your SRC, which is for Sharps Rifle Company, and then here on the other side you also have Sharps Rifle Company on the bolt carrier itself. So there's no mistaking that this is from Sharps Rifle Company. Now of course we want to disassemble the bolt, and I want to take a look especially at the bolt itself. We're going to remove our cam pin. The cam pin is actually made from 4340 steel. The extractor is 4340. And then we have the gas key, which is 4130 steel. The grade 8 fasteners have been properly staked as well. Now here on the right we have the Relia-bolt. You can see the tapered lugs. This is one thing compared to your standard flat cut lugs. One of the problems is when going into the chamber, if there's any kind of debris, which gases or powder residue, things like that, that build up, this has to force its way into the camming action. With the tapered cuts on the Relia-bolt, it slides past that because most of your tension rides on the back of the lugs, and so it gives it added strength because of this angle, but yet it helps to feed better. And that is one of the problems you can get, especially if you're shooting a lot of rounds through your AR-15. It can get kind of gummed up in the chamber. With the Relia-bolt, you're going to have better insertion of your bolt. Now the ejector pin is S7 steel. Your extractor is 4340 steel, which is up to mil spec. One thing too about the S7 steel is the Rockwell hardness is at 46. That's a 15% increase in hardness over your Carpenter 158 steel. Now I wanted to bring in a mil-spec bolt carrier, and this is a good quality bolt carrier group from BCM. I mean, they make great products, and I'm a huge BCM fan. And one of the things I would definitely rely on is a BCM bolt carrier group. You can see though the differences with the bolt carrier itself. I mean, with the roundedness of the standard bolt carrier, and this is an M16 bolt carrier, it has just the round areas all here, whereas you have your relief cuts here. There's about an ounce difference between the two, in fact when I tested it on my scale. So there is some relief cuts that do reduce the weight. Of course here you have your squared lugs, here we have our tapered lugs. Am I saying anything against your standard BCM bolt carrier? No, this is a great bolt carrier, but the funny thing is the price on these two are the same. And I want to thank Freedom Munitions for sponsoring the ammo. This is 55 grain full metal jacket, and just good clean shooting stuff. You can get a 5% discount using Suit00 at freedommunitions.com. Now out at the range we had zero malfunctions. I mean, the bolt just functioned extremely well. One of the things about the low mass bolt is you get a little less recoil, a little less felt recoil. It doesn't slam quite as hard. It just makes it a little bit easier to shoot, which makes it a big plus. But these are just made to continue to fire. In fact, they have tested these at 20,000 rounds within a 7-day period. I know that Eric at Iraq Veteran 8888 did a torture test with an AR-15, and he used the Sharps Rifle Company XPB bolt carrier. Now here are two XPB bolt carriers that are completely dirty. In fact, I've shot about 600 rounds through this rifle, and you can see a lot of the debris that's on here. Here I've removed the bolt, and you can see how dirty this is. But everything just wipes down really easily. That finish is just excellent. Here I've just taken a standard cotton cloth and I've just wiped this down. I haven't even really cleaned it yet, and you can see how easy it is to get all that debris off. I mean, it just comes right off. Now there's some carbon that's built up right here, which we'll take a bone tool and we'll clean that up. But that's just some built up carbon. But you can see how clean this thing is, just very well done. One thing too that I want to note is that this was ran again completely dry. There was no lube put on this, and so for it to come this clean so easily is pretty good. There's a little bit of wear right here, but just excellent. Here is another XPB bolt carrier group, and there was lube used on this one. In fact, I shot the 45-75 out of this, which has quite a bit more power than your standard 5.56. And the finish just wipes clean even easier. I mean, this thing looks as good as new. Let's go ahead and bring in our original. I mean, this is super easy to clean, which is again an added benefit. Compared to your standard nickel boron bolt carrier, and you can see this thing, of course, after a lot of rounds, it does start to make it somewhat difficult. It discolors it a little bit. But I like the nickel boron bolt carriers. I've used quite a few of these. But I think that the slickness of the XPB finish is so much better. It's just got a very smooth finish to it. The nickel boron has a nice coating to it, but it has a little bit of stickiness that you don't have with the XPB. Then here we have one of the black nitride finish bolt carriers. This is also a good option. I really like this. It's very slick, smooth, and it cleans up very well. And I've been very pleased with the black nitride finish. But one of the things that's a huge advantage with the XPB is the S7 steel for your long term. Now, Sharps Rifle Company does offer the MP3 Plus boron coated nickel finish. One of the things about that is the corrosion resistance is over the top. In fact, it's 10 times more corrosive resistance than your standard hard chrome finish, and 5 times than your standard nickel boron finish. So if you really are in saltwater conditions, or there's a lot of corrosion in your area, high humidity, you might want to go with the MP3 Plus. It is a little more expensive. In fact, the XPB bolt carrier group right now is running $164.99 on the srcarms.com website. If you want just the bolt, the Relia-bolt with the tapered lugs, those are $44.99. But if you want the MP3 Plus finish, it actually runs about $229 because of the extra finish that goes on here. And I'm sure that's Robar Guns that applies that MP3 Plus finish. They are fantastic. I thank shootsteel.com for the steel targets. You can get a 10% discount using SUIT00 at shootsteel.com. When the first Relia-bolts were released back a couple of years ago, they had initially some issues with heat treating. They took care of that. Anybody that sent their bolt in, they just replaced it free. And I have shot literally thousands of rounds through the Relia-bolts without any issues whatsoever. Now, Sharps Rifle Company owns a lifetime warranty on their bolts and bolt carriers. And that's transferable. You send it back, they'll replace it if you have any issues, which is huge because these are replaceable parts. And of course, with the S7 steel, it's going to take a long time to replace it. But they also have a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you buy it and you don't like it, you can return it for a full refund after 30 days. And of course, these are all made in the USA. Now, you can go to srcarms.com to check out a lot more detail about not only the Relia-bolt, but also the XPB. You can look at the MP3 Plus finish they put on them. There's just a lot of different information there, and it's worth going to. Also, if you're interested in the 25-45 Sharps, that is an excellent caliber. In fact, I just did a recent review on that caliber, and we will be doing more to come. And I want to thank Sharps Rifle Company for sending the Relia-bolts for the test and the ammunition, and really making this video possible. It's great when companies join in with the YouTube gun community to get this information out to you guys to be able to make good choices. So is the Sharps Rifle Company XPB bolt carrier group the strongest in the world? Definitely. S7 steel, tool steel versus 158 Carpenter, 75% increase in tensile strength, 60% in yield strength, and then with the diamond coated finish, the tapered lugs, there is a lot of great features about these bolt carrier groups. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. The Sharps Rifle Company XPB bolt carrier group. Now, Sharps Rifle Company offers a 30-back money. There were a few problems with quality. Well, when the think and invest in a...
Oh yeah!